Streaming in 3, 2, 1. We're live.
What is up? Welcome to another Form Review live stream. Today we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 4 is 24 minus 1, 23. That's 23 peeps today. So, as always, if you're here, let me know in the chat. We'll get you queued up. For those of you who are watching this and don't know what in the world is happening, these are our Patreon form reviews. So they're done through our Patreon. Link in the description below if you're interested in this. While we wait, yeah. Show you guys some goodies. We've got a matching pair of special edition pixels. I know how people are about matching, and these ones are great. They're 175 max weight. And then this is almost matching. Right, this rim right here has a little bit of gray in it, though this one's white. These are 173 a piece. So they on the site. If you want them, they're there. Special edition. And the link in the description below. That's where they are.
Say it. Do it.
Overthrow.discgolf.com.
No.
Just show me how proud you are, Shifu. Okay. Nobody's here? Legit? Are we even live?
Got 10 people.
Let me know if I've got your form here, because I'd like to start. It'd be pretty sick. Hey, but if you're just here and I don't have your form, you might as well ask questions, because you guys always be asking questions in between form reviews. Might as well ask them before or after the form reviews. Asking all these questions. Yes, it's .store. Crazy Man is correct. I was trolling Mikey a little bit. I have trouble remembering .store instead of .com. Somebody who was going to buy those pixels like paused the video right when I said .com and they actually typed it in instead of going to the link.
That still takes me to our other site.
I thought this was YouTube channel review. YouTube channel review. What does that mean? Like where we review
other people's YouTube channels?
Other YouTube channels?
We should start that.
Starting with Dondo Disc Golf YouTube channel.
Start with Dondo Disc Golf.
I feel like we'd have about as many views on that as we have right now on this one, if we did that. vidIQ. What is vidIQ? Us like breaking down why your videos work or don't work. Ain't nobody here, so you might as well ask your questions. Not that I'm a YouTube genius or anything. 50K subs in a niche sport. YouTube genius. Not really. Dang, we started too early.
Apparently, they don't like it.
Nobody. We should have kept it at 10, I guess.
Nobody in the queue.
Max was here for a second. Oh, you could put it in our Discord and then they'd know. Sorry for those of you wanting great entertainment and value for the first 5 minutes of this stream.
Wow, you were shockingly close to 5 minutes. Did you know that?
Hello, T less traveled. No, I just felt it.
You could feel the time. Big fielder of time. Time fielder.
Hello, Max. You are Maxwell Fresh, yeah? Gotta be. Gots to be. Let's see what you got, brother. Boom, boom. What have you been working on? Okay, good up to this point. Let me guess, planting before the throw? I'll see. Wait a second. What do you mean I'll see? I'd have to remember. Sorry. See, like, sometimes I remember, but I see too many of these to, like, remember in between.
Come on, you'll see. Come on, you'll.
Like a lot of pressure. Like, remember.
Remember.
I mean, I could only imagine. I can only imagine that it'd be delaying your throw until the plant, because it's not something I see often, and it's just not something I've mentally attributed to you for some reason. I don't know. It's how I remember or don't remember things. So I'm hoping that that's it. If that's not it, just tell me, because I need to know what to tell you. Okay, elbow up. Well, the elbow's up. You're moving through. The next piece of the form I'd get down is I'd try to maintain your posture. You see how you have a nice posture here, creating space for the disc. Part of why it's tough to keep the elbow up is because you're kind of leaning back into it. If I go here, like your elbow now wants to swing back with your body, right? So keep here. Maintain this space, and then continue what you're doing, and it's going to be even better. So we're that posture that you start with, stay, and then continue to delay into the plant, and then get your pull through. And when you work on when you're continuing to work on this arm, work also on getting this left arm all the way tight with the body. So we'll go. Maintain posture. Arms in. All right. Arms in. And then throw. Yeah, lots of people stand up into the brace, so you're not alone. But here's your next piece of assignment here is 1, maintain posture. Right, and throw. 2, Arms tight. Left arm tight with your right arm. Throw. Okay, now with an actual throw. Something like that. Do you think I should just get a lot of reps throwing relatively slow? Oh, you typed that out before I showed you. I need to move this so I have a little more room. My things. My things. Yeah, so I'd piecemeal it. Like this first. Check your balance, your posture. Throw. Right, and then eventually bring that up to speed. Yeah. Onward. I don't see the meme at the beginning. I looked for it. I really did. Maybe it's zoomed out or something. Yeah, it didn't work. I was accustomed to the meme. Q! Coil. Cheers, brother. I'll see you in another life, brother. Ah. Yeah, so you got a pretty severe, like you're walking across your line pretty severely. So you're walking this way. Right, and then you're trying to throw this way, which is forcing you to have to rotate your body around, like with your head, you see here. And there's just not enough room. For your disc to get through comfortably, so you need to work through your walk up. Where's my line? It's in my field bag. We'll do the half line. Is good? Right, so if this is the line that you're throwing, right now you're walking about here. Right, so to get through this line, sorry, I'll not exaggerate it here. Right, to get through this line, you're having to pull everything around, and you're doing that with your head. So then you have to go out and way around with the hand like that. Right, so instead, learn first to walk up relatively up your line. And your disc should be away enough that when you go to move it through, it's not being cut off by the shoulders here. Right, so you're going to need to mess with that, where your reach back goes to, where your backswing finishes. in relation to that. Right, so take that. So walking up relatively straight, and you'll want to turn to get your stagger here. So when you coil, you'll have enough stagger. You don't need to walk up diagonally like this. Don't put your body in the way of the disc. Keep the disc over here. Walk alongside it with the body. And just check your backswing. Right, from there, you'll have a foundation to start moving the disc past the body without your body getting in the way. So that would be step 2. Things to address now: walk up direction and where your disc goes on your backswing. Then you can start working on your forward swing. But right now, your body's going to get in the way of any kind of you could have the best forward swing in the world and your body wouldn't let you do it. Everyone, welcome. Go to Banton. All right, who next? What do you mean by forward swing? Well, forward swing is just like how you move the disc forward. Some people call it a pull, some people call it a swing, some people call it a throw. But I'm just talking about this part of the motion where you get from back here to here. So, but first you need to get your body out of the way. Alternatively, you could decide to take your walk up completely out of the picture. But and for that you could just start on our like backhand series.
Did you see Fuska in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Found him then.
He don't being seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. A forehand. Mm-hmm. So this position is kind of the issue. Not kind of the issue, it is the issue. So being here, from here, it's going to cause you to have to scoop in your motion, right? And the only two things we really need in this motion, forward and across for spin, right? Spin, speed, forward. From here, you can see guys, up here occasionally. And then when they go to do their hip move, they get here. Right now, it's probably better for you to eliminate it and build it in later if you're going to do something similar. First thing I think you should work on is getting this forward motion clean. And just lay the hand back behind. So lay the disc back behind the hand, back behind the elbow kind of in the beginning. That's the basic position that you want to go for here, is when you're moving forward, just lay this back one behind the other. What we're trying to do is kind of take slack out of the arm. And then all of that will get taken out when you start moving forward. But from here, where your hand's like a little bit in front, even if you start going and you start driving here, it's not going to take the slack out of your arm, so you're going to end up having to push the disc anyways. It's just fundamentally kind of a different way to put juice on the disc, and it's much harder to push than it is to drag the disc. So go ahead and lay it back, and I lay it back kind of flat if you're going for kind of flat forehands. Disc behind wrist, behind elbow. So it might look like this here. And now when you're ready to go forward, it's already fairly taut, and we'll get even more taut. And then all you have to do is get the forward move and across. Later you can start adding a bigger wind up, and you can start creating more space for the arm to move. Right, maybe like this, for example. And then it can drop kind of into the slot, but for right now I don't think you need all that. Disc behind wrist, wrist behind elbow. Right, and then level with the disc, so that the first thing is forward as your move. So yeah. Yeah, well, to be like abundantly clear, in reference to the target, your disc should be further away than your wrist. That means that your wrist is bent, and your wrist should be further away than your elbow, which means that your hand is laid back kind of behind your elbow. It doesn't have to you don't have to break your arm, but the goal is, if I'm here and I try to move forward, I still have so much slack left in this arm that I don't create this kind of like draggy stretch motion here. So I need to get most of that out beforehand. And then when I start moving forward, it stretches me even further.
No clue.
I don't know. Zach put in work, I guess?
Zach just put the smack down on Fusca. Just absolutely pummel him.
Are we good, Zach? Okay.
Seems like a good hit.
Okay, because I was like, the first message didn't seem that bad. And he just started like ripping into me after the first two. And then Zach was like, get out of here. But yeah, I remember what the first couple were. So I hope that all makes sense there, Fusco. And you know what? Just above and beyond in case it doesn't. Disc behind wrist, behind elbow. And then all he has to do is stretch forward, and it gets even further back. Now the disc is even further behind the elbow. So yeah. All right. Where's the next person in the queue? Where they be? They're not awake yet.
They ain't awake. They ain't there.
You can't apologize on the internet, Zach.
Dude, you just apologize.
Hold your ground. It was his fault.
You gotta push deeper into your decision.
That's
Yeah.
wrongdoing. It's the internet. Wrong.
Find a way to justify it.
Yep. Think about it, Zach. Were you really wrong?
Oh, who's just reject the apology? That's what we like to see.
Okay, who's next?
No one's next.
I'm gonna start just mowing through them then.
Yeah.
Sitting stare at Josh while he looks pretty show. Yep. Oh, I did Fusca. I just did Fusca.
Right.
Yes. So. You butt deleted the messages. It's like butt dialing to a whole new level. You just start like banning people. Sorry. Okay. Well, next is Hoonbear.
Wonder. I gotta put it in the thing.
You gotta give him the time stamp.
Wonder.
Yeah. Come on. This is a pretty long video. Must be another one. Uh-huh. This guy watched your video on flipping the disc.
I was gonna say you probably watched the video on slowing the body down. We thought different things.
This guy's trying to counterweight. Pew! Yeah, it's just a touch forced. A little like head banging in here. Right here. Like, I will keep my head down. I will keep my head down. I can't go down the octave. Okay. So one. There's always room to delay the throw after the plant foot, so that's something you can kind of always work on. Next, this like headbang thing here. It's still, it's actually active. The way that you're trying to be passive is active. Let's use English here. There's a difference between forcing something to stay and not doing anything with it. Right, so from back here, as we're waiting for this foot to hit, this hand is going to come tight. You might need to work, like make it come tight. But the head, like in order to keep the head here, we don't need to do anything active with it. We actually need to avoid using it, right? Which is kind of one of the hardest things to learn, is how to let something just be. So when you're here, the head is just neutral with the body, right? So if I'm walking, for example, right, I want to talk to you, my whole body's going to turn, right? I could do this, but we rarely walk and talk like this, right? It's usually we open up a little bit and we start kind of walking into the other person's lane, and it gets really annoying. But usually the head follows wherever your chest and shoulders generally are. It's usually not some crazy direction. So it's almost never forced. So right here, when you're going boom, down, to keep it here, it's effective in the fact that it's not this, right? Not pulling you forward, but also it's ineffective in the fact that you're forcing the move. So this move needs to just be, the head goes back because the shoulders turn back and the head wants to stay, generally, staring where the shoulders are staring where the chest is staring. And then, as this moves forward and the shoulders open up, the head kind of moves forward with it. Since the shoulders aren't going all the way around here, that's why we don't want the eyes going forward, right? So the head can lead and create a shoulder turn before it needs to happen, which is what you're trying to avoid. Or you can just learn to kind of leave it. Leave the head neutral. You can feel if your neck's like straining in a spot, right? Or if you're going, you can feel that. So don't force that move. Learn to keep the head just neutral with the shoulders. Just kind of a unit here. Right? So people who tend to go more forward with their shoulders, that means that their eyes will tend to go a bit more forward. Right? So if they release and their shoulders are here, well, their head's going to naturally be somewhere around here. Right? If you got someone like Wiggins, who's super closed off and side on, well, his head's going to stay here. So depending on where your shoulders go and depending on where you release and all that, it's going to kind of determine what the natural position of your head is. But don't force it. I'd say you still got more coil here as well, right? So the two things I would look at is one, kind of calm the head, make it a natural motion, and we're looking at this plant timing in relation to the swing. Your arms kind of already swing here as you're planting, right? Get a little more coil. Give yourself a little more time for that foot to hit. So get the shoulders a little further back. And then go. So those two things are probably good enough for now. All right, now we got a cue. Magnus. Hey, weren't you just at the chess.com invitational?
Took me that long. Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty controlled, yeah. Why is it not playing when I press play? Oh, here it is. Am I? Oh, I'm in 1 times speed. Oh, it's just like glitching? Oh boy. My iPad hates being hooked up to the stuff. It's like I'm gonna be slow now.
Whoa. That was wild.
Yeah, it doesn't just like play smoothly. What are you trying to do when you throw this shot? Are you trying to like at distance? Because this looks like very just controlled to me. Like it doesn't look like a bad shot depending on what you're trying to do. I'm trying to get rid of the whole spinning my shoulders together. Okay. Are you laughing at Adam?
Oh, yes. Is that right?
Yeah, so the thing with that is it's a good thing to look at. But what's coming around is your left side, right? So you've got essentially two hands moving forward together here. So you've got here like this, right? So you can't just stop. If your like left side is going, your shoulders are going to go as well, right? Because you're attached. So when you try to stop the spinning, you need to stop this left side. This is kind of the thing that needs not to move, right? And so we've got a couple pieces on the left side. We've got our leg, hip, shoulder, arm, right? Got lots of stuff over here. Hand. It's like what I do with my 1.5-year-old. Nose, eyes. Right, but this whole unit right here needs to stay. Right, so we kind of deploy our counterweight here so that this side can move. So right now you're going like this. I mean, you certainly can use something like this. I'd go fairly light. You can grab a stack of discs in your left hand. I don't know that something like this is necessary, but it is helpful sometimes. Right, the idea is like you will feel the weight move or not move, but the weight should stay basically in place. So when I show it with the weight, it's here. All right, so this trail side stayed back. Same thing here. Stayed back. So you're just opening up this right side. Yeah, sometimes I think it's helpful to have your hand here. This is another one of those situations where we're not trying to force it. Like it's better to like let it learn to stay. than trying to force it. So I try to stay away from things that are like force you to stay here, like that create tension in this left side versus just leaving it back. But the hard thing is you can rotate this left side forward for a bunch of reasons, right? So I can move my left hand in and rotate it forward. I can keep my left hand here and move my hip forward. And now my hand's here and my hip's forward, right? So you've got to kind of isolate. When you move forward, you got to go mentally piece by piece and find out what is causing this just to swing wide open, right? So like I said, we've got a lot of stuff on our trail side. So piece by piece, and just learn to focus on it. There's if you don't know how to focus on stuff, yeah, it's tough to learn that at first, but it can be done. J ta-da. Ta-da. John Legend is back. How are his ankles? Okay. Remember last time. See, if you want me to remember you, Max, you know what you worked on, you have to like leave an impression like this, where it's like his ankles were basically broken last time. He's healed. Dang, brother. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I've got some things kind of stylistically that I wonder about. Like this is this right arm move a forced move? Like is it a forced push out? I know you got some jello in your joints, but it might hurt after a while. Okay. I mean, give me some stats here. The way your off arm's working reminds me of like Old Eagle. Oops, I wasn't trying to go that crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think your form's in like a really nice place now to not think too much, but just see like can you improve on the things that you're currently doing. Right? So when you go to move the hand, like can you move the hand through faster? Can you brace better? Tweak your like, yeah, maybe mess around a little bit with your trail arm timing. I say maybe, and I say a little bit. That's like showing you how low on the priority pole it is. Yeah, it's time to start tinkering and start like letting your body figure out form it or timing at like higher speeds and stuff like that, and just ramp up kind of what you're doing now. Better brace without the rolling ankles, faster through without opening up. Mess around with things like, okay, where's my hand on the disc? Like, is it helpful for me to get it further back around the back of the disc here instead of like 9 o'clock? Can I get my hand over here? What does that do? Is it helpful? Not helpful? Yeah, you've done the like form work for the most part. Now it's the real tough part of taking what you have fairly solid here and like working within this framework. To become more efficient and faster. I do think this left side could be a little more passive. Like, I don't think you need to turn this knee in. Because the left side is just a momentum builder into the plant with the walk up. So yeah. Don't need more curl on my wrist as this comes in the pocket. I think you typed that as I was talking about hand position. That's basically the same thing I was mentioning there. So yeah, I think you're at a good point where it's time to leave form reviews for a little bit and let your body kind of work through this. Huck some plastic, brother. Good work. Yep. Yeah, let's see what happens after your body settles into it for a little while, a month or two. Yep. Hashtag goals. There he is. Bloop. All right, what have you been working on? Looks like brace. Oh, Jordan, are you Zeno? Oh, I guess so. Santi. Cola Santi. He needs a few minutes. Okay, we're skipping him and coming back. JC the short. A forehand. Okay.
Casey's looking fly, bro. That fit.
For a white guy. Bum, bum, bum.
Get the movie.
Okay, so this position here. When you turn this off target instead of here. So off target. And instead of having it here where you've got kind of like this, the wrists like up above everything, like this. Boop, boop, boop. It should all be in line. So instead of like this, in line. That way we can just use this range of motion. So we want to be here, and for this to be level. That's the best way to show that. Here, level. Wrist laid back, which you've got. You just got it here. So this whole unit, level. It's pretty simple. I don't know how to say it anymore. That's the big thing. Sometimes it's not complicated. See the... I can't tell about the grip. Almost looks like you're like here. Almost. Get it secure in your hand if it's not. Right? And it's important that we move the rim forward, right? So we obviously wouldn't have anything there. Right? We need to be able to put pressure on the rim. And then these secure. So secure there on the rim. This also secures and keeps in the hand. And then level with the forearm. We're just coming in. And then we're going to get side on with this. Oh yes, Pixel Imp is back. All right.
Next we're on for a sec.
Disc Perfect is next. I'm not chilling. I'm going.
Right. I meant like on the cue.
Yeah.
You said this perfect?
Disc Perfect.
It's perfect. Perfect.
Okay, so you've got this motion here. You need to work on your coil. Right now, your current coiling motion is you're kind of turned with the hips here, and then as you continue striding forward, this opens up here, and then it cuts off your space with your pocket here. Right, so instead, during this last step, so once you get on your left, now we need to turn our butt towards the target and our back towards the target. Right? Or you could say your belt buckle away from the target and your chest away from the target. Right? So the whole last step needs to be spent towards that end. It's now I'm turning away. And so now I've got all this space here. With my disc away from my chest, instead of if I turn forward like this, I get pinched right here and I collapse my pocket. So instead of that, turn away. Right. If that's my target, chest, back. Right, hips, back, together. Right, just showing here. Turning away. All right, so I would practice kind of like this. Checking. You got much more room to throw that way. And then, of course, bring it up to speed. Yep. Oh yeah. Okay, Loyal 1992.
Okay.
Wonder what year this guy was born.
Blue. 58.
Hold on.
The hawk face. The first face was classic.
Oh, he's throwing. Let me grab my ball. I fluffed it. Okay. Bobbles the catch. Finally, gets away late. Makes up for it with his eyes directly to the target. Ten out of 10. Good pup. Okay, so you're crossing, your step is so diagonal here that you're kind of crossing in front of your disc. Right? If we were at a behind view, there'd be no way for your disc to get around your body. It would look like this. So it's going to cause you to start rotating everything around there. Let's not break things. Okay, so if my line is here, Use the things you bought as tools. Hey, yeah. Visual aid. Okay, there we go. So if you cross over this line here, and this is where you're trying to throw, right? You're gonna have to turn your body all the way around. It's gonna make you go way around there, right? Which is why you go way around there, because you have to force your body around. Right. So instead, we want to walk alongside of where we're throwing, basically. So I'm going to let my disc take this little path here, and I'm going to walk basically parallel to it. You see now that the disc has room to move past my body. This means I don't have to rotate around, just I don't have to like spin out wide to get through here, but I can just move the disc forward through that line. So first thing is you have to adjust your walk up angle to create space for the throw. Right here. Through. Like that. And then after that, you can learn how to move the disc forward without, going past the T-pad, without being overly spinny. So, what would happen if I tried like even good form with? Yeah, I could stay back, but it's still not good. So, first walk up here. Set your feet up there, kind of along that line instead of here. And then you can start working on the other stuff. I said that like 3 times. Okay. PCW. Found. Ooh.
Straight in the dirt.
String of dirt. What?
Straight in the dirt.
String of dirty.
String in dirt. What?
He probably threw it nose up enough not to go in the dirt.
Potential. That's potential.
That's got potential. Okay, so your prep looks good. Your brace is pseudo bracing.
Just a leaky brace.
It's just a leaky brace. Just a leak in the boat. So right now your brace looks like it's far out in front of you, but you're actually just doing something similar to that. It's kind of, right, which is why you keep bleeding it forward. You don't actually have stopping power with that front foot. So you want to make sure that you get nice and bolted to the floor with this thing, pushing off of this front foot before you go through. So I would check here. I would do your walk up and do it like this. And from here, it should be stable, stopped, still coiled. And then throw. Stayed. Stayed. Right, if you've got a leaky brace, then it looks like this. Right, where my foot is just another step. It's a slower step, but it's just another step. Right, so we got to get it to really stop. And sometimes I have students go from here and I'll play like a little game with them where I'll say cut or throw. Which looks like this. Say cut or throw. Dakota.
Say what?
Cut or throw.
Cut or throw?
Cut or throw. Just pick one. He said throw. Right? Same position. He says cut. You should have enough, be solid enough to immediately push back the other way. So. Good setup. Less the brace. Red. How is it down in Florida right now? Amazing, I guess. Okay. It's great like always. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Flexing is big.
Yeah, I think the... Okay, hold on. Let me read what you wrote first. This was after I submitted the video, of course. So what does that mean? This is... So what do you feel is different in this video than what you would have sent me? Yeah, there's just like a little opening of the front side here. Oh, you pinned your left arm to the body. I gotcha. Yeah, so I won't comment on that necessarily. Or I can like comment on it, but not as if it's what's current. So you're staying here in this posture, but this front hip is trying to leak open like this and get you here. And so you get a little bit locked out here. So I'd shore up that front side and make sure that when you're staying in this posture that this right butt cheek is still going towards the target and not away from it at all. It's slight. Since your step is so small, it looks minimal, but the move is still going outward, right? Instead of here. Turn it to where the butt goes more targetward. That's going to help your like upper body coil as well and keep you from pinching off this pocket more than you need to. So still a little more work in the similar line to what you've been working on. You just have to get it shored up with the lower body now because you're not like doing this, right? But now we've got to just get this back in line. With the trail side, the tough thing I think is when you have to think about it staying, for me, and for a lot of the people I coach, like if they think about it staying, if they think, okay, it comes in here and like then I have to stop it, it's already too late. So instead of that, it's almost like here, from here the hips, you have to think about the hips not rotating. It's here, and then this side is already hanging back. This side is already staying over here. So that it doesn't come around, because you do have that in this video. I don't know what your current video looks like, but in this video you're here, right? And this little quarter turn that you do is enough to pull this knee like in line now, and then you go to throw. Well, from here, your body can't stop it from coming around, right? So that's why we have this kind of as the counterweight back here, because the more on this side of your body behind you that this left arm and left leg are, the harder it is for you to fly open, right? Which is why some people like find benefit here in crossing their line with their step, because it forces them not to come around early, but it's just kind of a band-aid. So yeah, thinking about from here, this staying here. It can slide, of course. This arm can pin, but we don't want it coming around basically at all. The more it comes around this way, the harder it is for the hips not to open up prematurely. So here, and it stays. I actually think of it just moving in here. So, but if you give it that little bit of quarter turn, it give it an inch, takes a mile type of deal. So you see here's that quarter turn with the knee, left hip, left shoulder, and now now you want to stop it, but it's too late. And here's that lead side leaking open right here. Just right there. It's the tiniest little move, but you need it to go the opposite way. Yes, yeah, trail leg and trail arm forward, not around. Yeah, that pin move needs to be lateral in nature, mostly. Next. Let's do Sawyer Paul. Paul spelled,
Sawyer now.
yeah. Vertical video, it's been a while.
Hey, he already covered himself. He said it's what he's got.
Okay, he's already
He's already
pre-amended.
pre-gamed it.
He's already given himself 1,000 lashes.
Yeah.
Bread and water only for the next 3 days. Sorry, it's all I had. Please. All right. Okay. What was that, Mikey? I do want to go back to Florida. Got to get the workload managed a little better before I take trips out and about. I don't know how we did it last year.
You killed yourself the other weeks.
I did kill myself the other weeks.
And I specifically remember you dying the other week surrounding that.
And then left early and worked like crazy.
Yeah.
Makes sense. They remember? I don't exactly remember that part. I just remember the Florida part.
That's exactly what you should remember.
So I should do it again. Okay. So first thing is this move that you've got going here with this trail side, it's exaggerated. So this, so just like I was talking about with Fred, is this, you should see kind of the trail arm as coming forward, not around, but also not down. So one thing that can happen is if you try to contain this like trail side left arm, a lot of people say punch down, right? Well, you did exactly that. So, and took it a little too far, right? You did the literal thing. So instead, I just let this slide in, and it shouldn't like really mesh your shoulders, like it shouldn't tilt your whole dealio here. The shoulders do go, like if I'm got good tilt here, like my shoulders will go to level as I'm kind of moving the disc forward. But what we don't want to do is here, like this, right? Because either we're saying we're throwing super high or just super awkwardly. So I'd quiet this down, not worry about it so much right now. And then I just work on what your lead hand's doing. So you want a little bit of curl in your wrist, like if you were gonna lift weights or something, or like there's always just a little bit of curl. I'm not gonna be like neutral or especially flared out with the wrist. This is just kind of a strong position for the wrist, slightly curled. So slightly curled. Shoop. And work on getting your disc through forward. The rest of it is not as important as that right now, right? When you set kind of the foundation for how to move this thing forward and you understand, okay, how do I increase the speed of this? Then you start going through things like this trail side where it's boom. Well, that's kind of messing with this really good thing I had going with my hand. Maybe I don't want to exaggerate that. Or, oh, maybe my backswing being all the way around here, messing up, like causing me to send my hand out. Oh, that's messing with this really good thing I had. So I'd start pretty simple. And slight curl, stand still, just have this quiet here, and just learn to move this forward. Either you can move it forward just by kind of going through that, forming the whip motion, which is you try to keep your hand curled around the back side of the disc here. If this is 12 o'clock and this is 9 o'clock, we'll try to keep it around 8. Right, try to keep your hand on 8 o'clock for as long as possible. It's going to come around 8 o'clock. Here, it can't stay there the whole time because, well, my elbow can't go any further. And try to move it forward like that. Right, so here, it's very simple, very quiet with the left side. And just start moving it forward. Start working on basic things like, okay, where's my launch angle at, right? Move it forward. Can I move it forward without throwing it in the dirt? Cool. Right, nose angle, not atrocious. Doesn't need to be perfect, but really working on the lead arm move first, and just making sure that this trail side is quiet enough to let you do that. So, but right here, this like up pitch. It's a bit too much, and the hand doesn't go far enough to the throw. It's very kind of short arm. So, move that hand out past the body. Okay, Zeno's back. Oh, I was like, where did he go? I didn't delete him, did I? Okay. What were you working on, Zeno? My work is also getting in the way of my disc golf. Yeah, I mean, you are trying to brace like nobody's business. It's not for lack of effort. As you continue down this journey, and I think it's worthwhile continuing down it, I'd work on better balance during your walk-up. You get kind of caught towards your, like away from the camera here, which just puts you in a tough position to actually stop your body. So your brace here, even though your leg straightens, it's not really bracing. So let's go through a couple things. Your first step, back here, you see where your right is in reference to your left? Your right is like here, and your left or sorry, your left is here and your right's here. So that means that your next step's going to have to come behind here. So yeah, you kind of hop and avoid some of it, but you're here, and then your next step is here, and so now you're here, which is putting you in this falling off of it motion, putting you towards your heels here. Right, so now when you go here, you actually don't have that much stopping power. And so instead, we'd like to have this first step with the right on this side of the left. It doesn't have to be really far on this side of the left. The important thing is that you can get through this step into your toe mostly here, or a position with your foot where you could stay there, right? To where you're not falling back. We want to have this kind of athletic posture here, so that we can come into this next step athletic with some stopping power, some moving power here, right? You wouldn't go heel, you wouldn't do that exercise there like, maybe you would, but you shouldn't. Right here. This is stopping power, that's moving power. Right, so we need to walk up in a way here with this foot to give us space here so we can stay on our toe for the next step. Boom. Now we can actually push off the ground in a way that generates force versus being here to the heel where sure, I can straighten my leg, but from here, I don't really have a lot of push power. Like if you had to jump off of your heel here, you could be as bent as you wanted to, but if you were falling back like this and had to jump, like that's all I got, right? Versus if you're here, that's at least twice as much. For someone athletic, more athletic than me, it'd be even more. But yeah, so you need to come in like this because this needs to stick enough to keep your body from going forward. Right, so here, and that immediately pushes and keeps the body back. So if I go heels and I try to stop, I can't, right? My body has to leak forward. But if I get my foot in there solid, for me it's more toe, might be more like mid-foot for some people. Here, I can totally stop. So much that I can go the other way, but there's like no chance of me doing that with the heel. So get this posture settled. Offset that foot so you can get through here clean to the toe. And now when you try to plant, you can actually have some resistance because your leg's in a nice, strong position. Yeah. And I wish people would just do more like hops and stuff. It's like sometimes when people are learning this in a lesson, I have them do stuff like that. And it would be shocking how many people just can't do like a little boing, 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 boing. It's like, but that's what you need to be able to actually stop. If you're like, you're just like slow, well, you're not going to stop on a dime, that's for sure. So, all right, next, shepherding.
Is chap here? Or are you just doing them?
I'm just doing them.
Okay.
KJ USA does it. I notice at times. I just need to do it every throw. Yeah. Kevin is no stranger to such activities. Okay. Oh, that's not what I want. I was trying to zoom in. I'm trying to get an image of his grip here if I can. It looks very like underneath. Could be wrong though.
Pizza.
Pizza.
Just looks very pizza.
Yeah, it does, right? There's no way that it's not. Yeah, it's like at this point, you can't flick a disc forward. Despite really good efforts to the contrary. Yeah, basically your forearm, so I'm going to make an educated guess that the pads of your finger are on the flight plate and not pushing into the rim at all, right? So they don't have to be all the way in the rim. There's some variety on that. But we do need them on the rim, right? Because we move the disc forward by pushing the rim forward, right? So if you're pushing against the flight plate, like you can have your finger in there, but you're going to miss out on the like wrist lever because that's all you got, right? But if we flip the hand more like this, more where the palm is sideways instead of up, and we can get our grip to where it's pushing the rim forward, now we've got use of this range of motion, right? Which is way more range of motion, and you can actually use your forearm muscles to pop the disc at that point, right? So first thing is get it to where your fingers are pushing the rim forward, not pushing up on the flight plate. Second thing is then you can actually lay your wrist back and use this range of motion. So your overall form is actually pretty decent, but your grip is kind of hindering you because you have to go with your palm up the whole time. So change your grip, and then when you change your grip, you should be able to push your fingers forward, push the disc forward on the inside of the rim with your fingers like that, almost like we were throwing a ball sidearm. And make sure you lay your wrist back after you do that, because right now you don't really have to lay your wrist back. You can't really lay your wrist back when the palm's up like this. So you're going to have to make sure and check in that, okay, wrist gets laid back, and then go for it. Japers.
Jeepers!
There's been an accident. It was Japers with the disc at the field. Two forehands in a row. What are the odds? It's kind of similar, right? You can see the grip. Like when the thumb's there, almost guaranteed that your fingers aren't like pushing in the rim. Yeah, let me recreate the grip. Because you've got these fingers here too. Like for sure the grip is not secure. But man,
My. You got some of that?
the boy's got some flexibility.
Less is harder.
And hope to die. What? Yeah, look at this wobble already. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, dude. Okay, grip lesson. Here. Keep bumping that thing. Trying to get close to this. Stop it. Yeah. There we go. Grip lesson. Here. Put it all the way in the wedge. Ooh, which way do I gotta go? This way. Middle finger in the rim. Maybe it's better here. You'll have to tell me, Mikey.
Good. Good.
Middle finger in the rim. So we got web, middle finger in the rim. Index finger can go here. It can go on top. You can even have it to where it's underneath the middle finger being pushed. Not a lot of people do that, but some people do. Right? Some people even do this. Right? If you don't know where to start, I'd start there. This seems like most common. One of these two. Right? And then this right here kind of Ninja Turtles the outside of the rim to keep it stable. Right. Show that a bunch of different ways. In the web, in the rim, Ninja Turtle. Right, and your thumb's going to be somewhere around here, right? With that new pressure point in the rim, the thumb's going to be somewhere over here, not up here in the middle. It's going to be close to that little like line between the, it's going to be close to the line between the, what do you call this? The flight plate and the rim. What do you call these things? And then from there, this setup that you have with your offhand right now, like the way that you have it here, just take that back. Like just take it straight back from there and you'll be good to go. So set the grip, take it straight back, and then yeet that sucker. Watch it go a long way. Your wrist doesn't need to be back, but you're already setting it back. So this is one of those cases where you fix the grip and it's like probably amazing. The last one could have been as well. He's alive! That was his friend though, right? That's not... Like, Japers was on the ground, I think. Alright. Is the shoulder lifting up near the ear an issue? I recently got the suggestion I was shrugging my shoulders too much in my throat. Long neck. Yeah, I think generally you want to be relaxed with the shoulders, right? You don't want it to be like this. Right? All kind of throwing motions are relaxed with the shoulders. You never want to be like and create weird tilt in the shoulders versus the head. So shoulders, like always, have some kind of cartwheel motion. Not like a lift motion. You might move the whole torso, but shoulders are usually neutral. All right, Alex 27995.
27955.
279. Did I say 55? No, 995. Yeah, did you say 5? Anyways, 995. I've met this guy before, right? Maybe I haven't. It is So close. Also, that's a short net. But you gotta do what you gotta do. This actually has like a lot of pretty decent things about it. First thing I would work on is like you're just spilling. You see how you're just spilling past your brace here? Your brace, I would focus on getting your brace stronger, like, period. A better brace. And I think for that, you need to focus on a little bit longer of a final step, so you can have more stopping power, right? The more energy you want to put into the disc, the more you need to stop better and brace against that throw, which means it's easier to brace if your foot's way out in front of you, right? Obviously, there's an extent to that. Like, I'd never get up if I was just walking into and try to throw. Of course, I'm never like getting onto the front leg when I throw, so there's an extreme there. But it is easier to stay behind the front leg the further you plant. So for you, I would work on staying as far back behind this foot as possible while making sure to still get onto the front foot. So this doesn't happen with a lot of people, but you're in a good place for it. Yeah, so right now you're just, steps are too small. Like, that's me trying to brace there with really small steps and I still leaked. So lengthen that last step, focus on staying behind it a bit more. And up tempo more and more and more, and brace better and better and better and better. And that'll help you not spill over here. Yep. I mean, it's a nice place to be, honestly. Riptide 03.
Riptide.
03. I started going to physical therapy for my back, and she said my shoulders were comparable to that of her elderly parents. I'm 22. Am I screwed? I don't know. Are her elderly parents jacked? I need some more context here.
My elderly grandparents are Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, hey, almost. Listen, together, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So when this right arm gets about here, this left arm should be tight. This offside should be still for the most part. Let's pick someone. Wow, it was like already there. So nice. Let's go with the Skeletor. So you see uprightness of Simon.
Skeletor, dude.
You're already kind of like tilting down there. See how compressed this left side is? Let's make you as big as Simon. That's bigger. You can't be bigger than Simon. Unless you are.
When you're bigger than Simon, there's no doubting that you're bigger than Simon.
Tell these people to find out who he is.
Yeah, you see here how all these like red dots just go around, around, around. You can see them just. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop, Skeletor, stop! Uh-oh. I ruined it. Turn off, turn on?
Yep.
Didn't work. I want the dots. Give me the dots back. Oh no. I was poking stuff. And then it changed. Well, that doesn't work anymore. Yay, Skeletor. Give me the dots back, please.
Now it's Skeletor.
Maybe it's at a joint that I have to click. Oh no.
Oh, Japers is here. Didn't we already do Japers?
Yeah, we already did Japers. Oh, thank you, internet person.
Mikey, what did you did a number on this projector.
What?
You did a number on this projector. The screen is completely like
Oh,
tilted.
Oh, wait, you can fix it.
okay, here we go.
I thought I fixed it already.
No, you definitely did not.
Around, 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 around. See that? And more off kilter with the body. Now behold, balance. Dun, dun, dun. See how still dun, 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 the left side is comparatively. Now centered he is. So from here, you need to work on moving the disc forward without all of this moving, right? So it doesn't need to move around, and it doesn't need to move forward like this, right? Ultimately, that's part of being planted, is this is our only resistance to keep the body from going, right? You probably need to tighten your core, stuff like that, I'm sure, to keep your body from going. I've never had to think about that. But move forward, move the disc forward, centered. Right, you can always look in a mirror or in a camera and just see that, and you can start tracking, right, and then start moving very intentionally. Upright, still. Okay, doesn't matter what the disc does, you're just trying to get a disc in your hand, moving it forward staying balanced, right? And then you can work on it the other direction, right? We've got this direction and we've got this direction, right? So we need to learn to keep it still in both ways. Relatively still, right? Of course, from coil to here, it's going to move a bit, but I'm not pushing it forward. And I kind of, my eyes kind of glazed over there. I wasn't intentionally doing it. I just realized that that must be what happens when I'm trying to feel this piece without staring at it. So, which is, I thought, oh, I won't bring it up. And I thought actually it's probably pretty important if you're not able to focus on this. Without staring at it, it's never going to get fixed. So you might have to stare at it in the beginning to help make that connection, but then you need to be able to feel it without looking at it. Mike! Oh yeah. Okay, is this the flash warning video?
Oh yeah.
Flash warning, ye be warned about flashing. So, you've been warned.
Good morning, and yeah.
Oh, this is a very tame flashing. I've seen the ones where the whole screen's boom,
Yeah.
boom. I'm whoa. Mm-hmm. So this is the left side coming around and twisting forward, kind of together. To me, it feels like a two-handed swing. Right, I would say this is like a two-handed swing. Right, this is where that whole trail side is kind of attached to the front side. Where it's okay, this is everything going together. We want to take this two-handed swing and we want to turn it into a one-handed swing. Right, it means that this side doesn't have to go anymore. We just get a nice long swing with this right. Right, this is not exactly the disc golf swing. Right, because I'm letting my pocket collapse a bit, but we can quickly turn it into that by getting a little shoulder coil. How can I just keep this a one-handed swing? Right, here it becomes attached again. If I go here and I go, let it go, it's attached. So at some point this has to go by itself. All right, both hands back, sure. The right hand goes together. This isn't a bad drill either. If you go both hands back and just go kind of Dave Feldberg with it, where this offhand gets stuck to the body on its way through. It's kind of a good way to feel the how and when. And then you can turn that into your modern swing. Right side goes all the way. The whole thing here stays. Shoulder, elbow, all this. Right here, obviously, my lower body's not moving, so it's easy to keep it still. And then this is forcing this only to move in, not around. Hey Sawyer, we did yours earlier. There's a timestamp in the...
Inbound.
Does that make sense, Mike? So right here you see your left hand like goes all the way with it, all the way around with it. Together. Boom. Left hand stays. Right hand continues the journey by itself. The left hand's really staying where it was. And now the left hand can come around.
Hold.
Hold what?
Back. Yeah, jump scare.
So you know when you have a checklist of things to do and you check something off and you feel good? Well, imagine you check something off and you went to your checklist and there was something added. It feels less good. Just so you know. Just remember that. Just remember that. Think of the checklist. Okay. Are we fixing the disc flip issue? Will today be the day? No, not today. Okay. So you need more tension in your arm. You're like quite possibly the only person on earth who needs more tension in their arm. How many fingers are you holding onto your grip with? Because it looks like 2. It looks like it's just like blowing in the wind with these 2 here. 7 fingers? It's backloaded, so you're here. There's no way it's backloaded, because if it was backloaded, it wouldn't move right there. Right? There's no way that that's backloaded. Okay, so if it's backloaded, then you have to be like loosening your back fingers like that at this point. right? This little move right here, there's just no, right? Tell me I'm wrong, Mikey.
You gotta do it again. Do that move again.
No, look.
I'm looking.
Yeah. There's no way that's backloaded, right?
Man.
It's got to be super loose in this hand. There's just no shot, right? That you get here and it's secure in your hand.
Man, I don't know.
No matter what. Yeah, it's like the disc, force the disc not to move in relation to your hand. Like, don't let it go here, don't let it go here, don't let it change. Like, this is the orientation of the disc in your hand. Like, it's going to stay there. I can hold the disc only with middle and ring finger. Right, that's not backloaded, that's mid-loaded. But I want you to hold it with all 4 fingers. I want you to put it all the way in your hand, like all the way in your hand. No space. I don't want it to have room to wiggle at all like this. All the way in your hand, all 4 fingers. No gap here. I don't even want to see Joel Freeman. Secure. And only let it move more or less level, right? We talked about, you had like hyzer before, right? So hyzer, good to go. But we're not going to have it change directions as it moves forward. Right, so all the way in the back of your hand, all 4 fingers, grab. Been working that even fan grip, but my thumb pops to outer side of rim. Here you're saying? About the specifics, but the thing that I want is for you to check the whole time, because somewhere there's a disconnect between what you think is happening and what is happening when you throw, right? You're losing focus on something that's happening in your hand. So this like flip, if you can't feel that it's flipping up like that, then you need to learn to focus to the extent that you can feel that. And control it so much, like replace whatever the loose is that ends up happening to where it's changing a whole bunch, replace it with a secure grip. And keep it locked on there. I don't care if the thing doesn't come out of your hand. But you're going to move it forward, and it's only going to be in line with your forearm or a little bit down the whole time. That's the only orientation. The disc isn't going to flip up like this. It's not going to go down like that. It's not going to be here. It's going to be secure. Grip it however you have to make sure that that happens. And I think the best way to do that, all 4 fingers all the way back in your palm, get that thumb on there. Because this is like one of those issues that is like prevailing. Like this has been going on for a while. So what it means is that you have not focused on what's, you don't have the connection to what's actually happening in your hand mentally. Right? And I had the same thing with putting. Like I would putt in grip lock. And I'm sure you've heard me say this by the amount of form reviews that you've been on. Like, if you had asked me, are you opening your hand? Yes, right? Of course I'm opening my hand, right? But I'm like grip locked at the end of this thing, right? And the only way out of that is to focus on the minutia of what's happening in your hand. So, can we go through what is movement from max reach back to pocket, because I think I do wrong movement there. With this, I'm actually just trying to slap disc to my chest when I get to power pocket. Right, your movement with your arm is not that crazy. Like other people with arm movement like this, their disc doesn't do all this crazy stuff here. You collapse the pocket a little bit here, right? You need to maintain that space from right away as you move, and that'll help get rid of some of the swoop that happens. But I still think that your interaction with the disc is the thing that's messed up. So if you want to work on the upper body stuff, go for it. From here forward, you need to maintain this space as you go. This cannot get smaller as you move forward. You're like actually too loose here. Right, so you've got to, some people focus on pushing the elbow out or something, right? But maintain that space moving forward so your disc has a straight path to move through. And then here you're starting to push down. So I would stay in this posture that you're in right here, maintain this space, and then move the disc forward, similar to how you're doing, but you have to maintain the space better. Here, and directly forward. So you need a little more tension here. It's only too much rotation because your hand speed's like too slow, because you're getting collapsed, right? The trail side rotates a good bit forward, for sure. So you could keep the trail side calm. Because this left shoulder starts pushing in here, cutting off your space in the pocket. Right, so here, move this arm forward. Don't chase it with the left shoulder. You have to maintain this space. Right, so don't push forward here. Instead, let this shoulder stay with your hand. Move that forward. If you're wanting to look at that.
Yeah, you just calling out anyone, right?
I don't think. He's in the queue.
He's in the queue? Okay.
Yeah. Wooden disc get grip lock your spike hyzers then. If your left shoulder stopped, no. Okay. So from this point forward, you start, because your disc is behind you and because you're crossed over your line so much, you start like sending your head forward to pull your disc back on this side of your body so that you can move it forward without running into yourself. So you see here, boop, let me see if I can go a little bit further. So the disc, so your footwork is like here, and your disc is back here. So if you didn't pull your head around, which would pull your arm around so that you can go forward, you'd have to go through your body, which obviously isn't an option. So you want to learn to first step forward as you do this. You only need about 20 degrees of stagger. So you're at about probably 45. So you need about half the stagger you get. And you'll get that stagger if you coil as you take that final step. You should get most of that stagger, if not all of it. Right, so there. So if I'm throwing here, and then you'll want to look, okay, where does this need to be so that my hand can move past my body? Now from here, you don't have to go and start turning the shoulders, like turning the head and swinging the hand outside. Now you can path the disc inside close to your body. Right, now you can have this little micro arc. So the reason that my front side dips is because I am stuck behind myself in the reach back. Right, you're saying why you get this like negative, hello? Skeletor? He doesn't want to work? Yeah, but you're saying here, right, where you get kind of the negative shoulder tilt. Yeah, it's because you go like this. And when you kind of lead and push with the head like this, it comes around and kind of down. So this needs to stay neutral as you coil and not pushing the shoulders around and down. So create space with posture. And now we create space with our backswing, our shoulder turn, and where the disc is at as well, right? So right now it's just probably your upper body is correct as long as you don't step across your line. So here, but you'll want to monitor and make sure, okay, I actually am not getting trapped here. Yeah, and then last thing is you want your hand kind of curled around the disc a bit, so when you work on that, you could be back here. And now when you come through, instead of your hand being on the front of the disc and going around, this is also kind of tied to this problem, right? Because your hand wants to immediately come around to the front of the disc when you're like this. But now, if you can move the disc directly forward, you can keep your hand on the back of it while you do that. And go through. And now your hands can path inside instead of out and around. Does that make sense? Well, so the proper reach back, I think, is going to be fixed when you do the correct step, right? The reason that I could take your reach back and contextually, if I'm 45 degrees off, well, all of a sudden, I decide I'm going to throw here, and my reach back is great, right? It's just a combo of where you're stepping in relation to where you're throwing. So you don't even necessarily need to fix your reach back. You need to fix your step. And then that's going to fix the relationship between your step and your reach back. So that'll fix it. Hand position is just as simple as it sounds. You start with your hand on the back of the disc and you move it forward for as long as possible with your hand on the back of the disc. Just keep your hands curled. Yeah. It's quite simple. Yes, sir. All right. Boo bad. Dong, 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 dong. Yeah, I mean, I can tell what you're working on. It's just very rigid right now, which is to be expected, right? But with form pieces, you have to go through kind of rigidity, and then you have to give it long enough to like settle in and for your body to make it efficient, right? So I can look and I can point to kind of everything in your form that you're working on, right? Here's a very, very intentional shoulder coil. Here's the left side coming in, right, to pause, maybe a touch early, right? And now you're very intentionally trying to keep it back. We can tell because the hand's like sprawled open, and that back foot is way behind you there, right? I think you could work a little bit more on your plant. Make sure that when this left hand starts coming through, that you're not twisting this trail side and opening from this point, because you see where since this is coming in this early, if it's creating any twisting here, like of your back knee, then you actually don't get a solid plant because you're opening up instead of coiling and getting a solid plant first. And then your head is like very intentionally staying back. Right, it's being held too far back, actually. Right, it's not in a natural position. The head wants to move forward as the shoulders move forward. So all these things that you've worked on and you've been faithfully submitting form reviews for, now it's time to like, I have nothing new for you. Right now, the best thing you can do is try to make all of these things that you already know and are already intentionally trying to do, now try to let them happen in a normal way for your body, right? The head doesn't want to be back, right? Feel things like, okay, this doesn't want to be back here. Where does it want to be? Okay, well, as I move forward, this is kind of where my head wants to be. Natural, no strain there. Yeah, the best thing I can say for you now is no form review for a while. Just put down the camera for a bit and go throw and go feel things. So, and enjoy the warm weather that's coming up. And then hit form stuff again in, I don't know, a month or two. So, but it's important to have like proper cycles, right? It's not just form work in like an endless form work cycle, because then you never establish anything. It's form work, let your body become efficient with it. So like very intentional work and then natural, intentional, natural. It's kind of the flow. Let your body put things into place. You got to give it time now. Because I'm sure I'm not going to tell you anything new here. There will be stuff to fix later after you give your body time. But now it's time to take a break from form reviews. And throw. Feel the wind in your hair. I mean, the disc through the air. Bradley B2.
B2.
Dog number 2. Let's see if it's the same reaction as the other dog. No, this one doesn't even want any part of it. This guy's got your form.
Okay, I'm ready.
From here.
Yeah.
From here on. She's got an interesting left arm though. But it's not a bad left arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just looks unorthodox. But it's actually
Gunslinging form?
um
Normal form.
I'm just talking about right arm stuff, you see.
Right.
I think you're actually a little too like sprawled or a little almost too straight with your leg to get like as good of a plant as you want. I mean, definitely slings, doesn't he? Yeah, this is one of those, I already throw far, I want to throw farther guys.
Wrong with those guys, Josh, okay?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, I'm just identifying them for the chat.
Good meeting, okay?
Just identifying them for the chat. Because there's stuff that looks unorthodox. So it's easy for people to be like, you don't throw 450. It's like, I guarantee this guy does. Yeah, so most of your problems, I think, are postural, like balance problems. You see how you end up flaring way over here and your right foot's like, I still got places to go. Like, that's the weirdest part of your throw. that happens right there. Right, but it's just because you're not quite set up. Like, you're super stridey here and you're not getting your like right hip back enough. So you need to make sure that when you're going through here that you can hit this in a strong position of brace, and you want to be wide, but also you don't want to be like so wide that you're locked out. So from here, like, you could get more coil, you could turn this, you can get the shoulder back even a bit more, and you can get your right hip back a bit more, and then throw from there, and that gets you a better load. And you can keep your trail side back a bit more. So you need to have your counter move with your left arm / shoulder. So coil a bit more here, butt to the target a bit more. That's going to get you kind of coming in more this way instead of a bit like open where it's harder to resist. At the end of the day, you need better resistance here, a little bit more coil, and then we need you want to make sure that your left side isn't pushing forward. This is an exaggeration, right? But the way that we do that is when the arm comes in, we have to send this kind of the opposite way, right? So you'll see this kind of press move happen with the hand and with the back leg on pros, and I'll show you that in a second. This kind of push to keep this offside back here instead of letting it go forward. Let's see, I've got extreme examples. Oh, I think I did press it correctly and it's just not registering. Okay, it is here. It just does not like this setup. Okay, so first thing, see how he's got some bend in his leg here. When you have that bend, then you can use your big muscles to push and stop, right? So you're like a little too straight there to get a really good stop on that front foot. Your foot's a little bit open, right? It doesn't have to be, exactly back there, but right now you're kind of splayed like this a bit. So it's more important that you get kind of this butt cheek towards the target a bit more than me being able to see some of your like quad. If I was standing in front of you, I want to see more of your hamstring than your quad. All right, and also notice when the front foot goes down, how coiled back he is. So that's partly here, and it's partly here. Now, to be fair, he is coming from a 360, but this is, to also be fair, this is a position you see people not 360ing get similar to in their backswing, where the whole back is facing towards the target. Okay, next thing is this offside. See how your offside's kind of going forward, your left hand just keeps going. And here it's trying to start the pushback move, but it's a bit too late. Versus here, offhand in, and now there's this like little piece of signage right here, the double G Craft Turkey signage. His left hand's kind of staying on, which feels like pushing it back. And he's really keeping this away, closed for a long time. I'll show you one more example of that, and then we'll move on. Here's that same kind of feel, like her hammy's showing more towards the target and her quad's more towards us. This left side goes in here. She actually tucks it behind the body, and then there's this repress with the back leg here to keep her left side from coming forward. So those are the things that I think you need to work on. And it feels like you're one of those people that's probably the form you need, so good luck. With your disc golf career. Almost done with my coffee. It's cold and it's black. Oh, who is this?
Andrews.
That's right. Gonna press play again so this thing can glitch out on me. Is this beside a pool? What is this 3x3 thing here? Why are there rubber mats? Whoa. Berg gang. He's representing. This guy's a baller. So your elbow is going to have to get tighter to your body and path a little more directly forward. It's swinging around too much. So right now your elbow is kind of here, out and around here like this, and then you're snapping out here. Your elbow needs to come through, forward here, and then snap. So the elbow's got to stay a bit tighter to the body this way. You don't need to like lock it in here like this, but you don't want to send it out and around like this. You needs to move basically forward, right? So as you start your lower body move, the elbow needs to move forward. Right, and then try to delay it a bit behind the hip if you can. Delay it a bit more. It's kind of health thing there. Yep. So that's basically it for forehand. Take it inside here instead of around. And then try to leave the hand back as long as you can behind the hip. But you've got some speed. You understand the motion. TMC Carrerio. Mikey. TMC Carreri 0. Choo. Hello? Oh, I have now realized that there's going to be somebody in the foreground here. I was like, what good does this do me if you're throwing all the way over there? So many forehands today. I love it. Yeah, picture perfect of what somebody else did earlier. So I'd go from just a standstill first. So we don't bring so much, so we can learn to be solid on this front leg and not like fall into it. Just like whoop, collapse into it. Instead something, whoops, did I just, okay. Thought my shoes were going for a second. Right here, where we've got some resistance with the front leg. Then your setup, right now your setup's here, where your disc is in front of your wrist, is in front of your elbow, right? Or maybe these two are even, but what you want to do is flip this setup here, where you've got disc, wrist, elbow. So you'll be here with it instead. And go ahead and lay the disc back behind the wrist, back behind the elbow. And then when everything starts coming around, you just leave the hand back there and it gets stretched even more, right? But we want to take most of the slack out of the arm. If it's here and I, lag the hand here, I only get here because the shoulder went, but there was still too much slack left in the arm for it to actually start dragging the disc. So I'm going to have to basically go and pump it forward with my arm. Instead, if we can go here and lay it back in that order, disc behind wrist, behind elbow, so lay the hand back behind everything. Then when I start going, it immediately pulls the rest of it taut. And now I've got this kind of dragging motion forward that I can pop against. All right, so stand still. Or maybe a small step at most, so that we learn not to just collapse into this with our momentum. And then lay this back. Right, some people do it like this, and then they separate. Some people just lay it back like that. And that's what I would work on. All right. Boom. We're done. I will stay on until 12 o'clock at most. If you have questions, I will answer them now. If we don't get any questions, then we're gonna leave. There are no questions by the time I finish my cold coffee. Then we're gone.
No.
Okay. What is your favorite roast level for coffee? Oh, I am, yeah, I'm not that guy. But, I mean, I like dark. I'm not crazy about light roasts. I missed the submission again because I suck and I work too much. LOL. We'll get it in. As soon as you see the code word up, just have a video ready and just send it. Do you have a suggestion on how I can work on staying leaned over throughout my entire throw? Oh, Disc Perfect. I reviewed your form. I'm assuming you saw it already. Yeah, the thing is, staying over for your entire throw, it's like feeling, what should this posture feel like? Right, there's not really a trick to it. It's, what am I currently doing? What do I want to replace that with? Right, so if I want to stay here, it feels like, I know, I'm staying over my shot. I feel like there's kind of a bubble here that I've created, like this little space. Right, and the pocket for me is here. I'm over that pocket, is the feeling. But yeah. How much does head position matter during the X step? A lot. I mean, head position always matters because it's like a balance thing. Like if your head's trying to pull you different places, it's going to screw everything up. So yeah. I throw nose up in downward trajectory, flip the disc to fix nose, but having a hard time with throwing up. Well, pick something and aim at it. And then, if your tech disc says that your launch angle is down, aim at something higher. And if you hit that spot and it still says it's down, aim at something higher. And keep aiming at higher and higher things until tech disc says that your trajectory is up.
Sounds like I need to talk to a doctor being the worst time to be sewing up a lot.
Oh yeah?
You get it?
I get it.
How do you know? It's funny because it's funny. Funny is thinking. Funny because it's humorous.
Yeah, I mean when you're on a net all the time, like what I'll do if I'm on a net, or like you can find an aim point on the net. Like just because it's a net doesn't mean that you can't throw higher and higher. Any tips on how to rotate on the heel of the plant foot instead of the ball of the foot? I've had the hardest time fixing that particular issue. That is a brace issue. So you can force yourself to rotate on the heel, but get none of the benefits that rotating on the heel brings. I mean, it's not really the rotating on the heel that brings the benefits. It's a good brace that brings the benefits, right? So the reason that we rotate, most people rotate on their heel, is because when you press up, since we're staggered here, when I resist the ground, when I push against the ground, my leg straightens, right? And when my leg straightens, this hip goes up and it pulls my weight to my heel. Right? So people who rotate on the ball of their foot, more often than not, they sink into the foot and they never have a press up moment. They never have a resisting the brace moment when they throw. So they just sit here they go down into the foot and they never come out of it. They just stay the same kind of height. So when I try to force it, it never goes well. Well, such is form. Forced form is rarely good. Sometimes it's good to force things to get to the other end of the spectrum so you can feel it, but rarely it's like, wow, I just forced that. It felt great. Yeah. People who prematurely go to the heel without pressing, they just spin on their heel instead of on their toe. It's like you're trying to avoid the spin. You're trying to create a stop. And it doesn't have to be on the heel, it doesn't have to be on the toe, it doesn't have to be on the side of the foot. It's just a result of stopping well. The rotation that comes after the stop is a good one. Yeah, I mean, hesitation about hyperextending knees exists. It's just when you've got all your weight on that knee, it's really hard to, actually hyperextend it. Because you're just like jumping off that foot. So, the thing that is scarier for me is like if you put your weight there and you don't push up and now you're twisting on the knee. But yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, it's 12. It's a good time to finish. Thanks for hopping on. These are our Patreon form reviews. Like I said earlier, if you want your form reviewed, we have a link in the description below. Thanks so much. Peace, guys.